Amen. Woo! Good stuff. You may be seated, if you can. Our service is abbreviated in here this morning, and so I'm moving into what might be a sermon. For most people, it probably is a sermon, but my sermons go on longer, so this is short for me. But on Thursday night, I heard the hoo, hoo of an owl outside the window at the parsonage. I don't remember hearing an owl here before, and so it got me to thinking about owls. And since you know owls are nocturnal, some see the owl's yellow eyes as a sign that the sun lives through the owl at night, even as it descends in a quick and precise silence to scoop up unsuspecting prey. In that way, owls bring both day and night, life and death, as they call out, "Hoo, hoo," into the unseen. The mythology of the owl includes guiding the dead to the afterlife. Life and death, sun and dark, together. That's the owl. And now is the time for owls. If you go to a Halloween haunted house, you're likely to see an owl in the decor somewhere, along with the skeletons, bats, and various other reminders of our mortality. In fact, the word Halloween is the abbreviated version of All Hallows Eve, the night before All Saints' Day, when churches hold vigils to prepare for the feast day and frequently light candles on the graves of the dead. In its original form, All Saints' Day honored the canonized saints and martyrs of the church, whether known or unknown. The day after All Saints is All Souls' Day, which expanded the remembrance to all those who have died. The church first celebrated those 2 days, plus the evening before them, All Hallows' Eve, in May, and the Eastern churches still keep that general time frame, celebrating the week after Passover. In the 8th century, the Western Church moved the date for All Saints from May 13th to November 1st. And when we Protestants came along in the 1600s and pointed out that in the New Testament it referred to all believers as saints, All Saints and All Souls got blended into one celebration for us. All Hallows' Eve has been a time to pray for the souls of those who have died. And for those who believe in purgatory, it was seen as a time that those prayers could move a person's loved ones from there into heavenly bliss. And that was seen as a dangerous passage, so support was given by baking what they call soul cakes. It would have little crosses on them, saying prayers, presenting frightening faces to scare away evil spirits who might try to capture a soul making that perilous journey from purgatory into heaven. That was actually the first role of jack-o'-lanterns, which began as hollowed-out turnips with candles in them. And eventually that became the role of scary costumes as well. They weren't meant to be evil spirits, but to scare away evil spirits who might target vulnerable souls in passage. It might have been easier just to rely on the dependable ferry service of the owls to carry any souls in need of protection. And while all of that is very staid and somber, here in the dying of the year when the weather turns bleak and cold, in sunnier southern climates, these 3 days took on a naturally sunnier form. We can see it in the Day of the Dead celebrations in Mexico and related cultures, which spans the 2 days of All Saints and All Souls. Those celebrating the Day of the Dead typically make altars at the graves of their loved ones, decorating them with flowers, a person's favorite foods and beverages, and a mixture of colorful skulls, skeletons, and yes, owls. Candy skulls are given to both the living and the dead. People wear skull masks. They write poems that poke fun at living relatives. Boys dress up like old men and leap into the dance of the grandfathers with energy and with joy. Just as the owl's yellow eyes bring the sun into the night, the Day of the Dead celebrations bring life into death, reminding us that we are but one piece in the long chain of life. That form of remembrance teaches that while grief and sorrow are normal in times of loss, our beloved once lived and danced, told jokes and sang, had favorite foods and drink, and it's also therefore normal to do the same as we remember them. As with many things in the church, a combination of culture, superstition, and deep truth come together in our holiday celebrations. And as we travel through All Saints' Day tomorrow and All Souls' Day the day after that, I'm content to let the culture and the superstition be what it is and to enjoy healthy forms of that fun. After all, in my spare time, I help my brother write Halloween parodies of popular songs for a singing skeleton quartet. So there's that. The culture and superstitions surrounding these days have at their core the holy and deep truth that the owl's yellow eyes signify. The sun never really sets. We are the ones who move, now into the day, then into the night. Life doesn't really end. It's an eternal cycle in which we participate, flowing fluidly through the love that lies in the center, constantly creating and nurturing us all. Night can turn to day. Sorrow can coexist with joy. What is living is on its way to dying, and what is dead is merely in the process of being born anew. As St. Paul said, at death we are merely changed from glory into glory. This perishable body must put on imperishability, he says in 1 Corinthians 15. This mortal body must put on immortality. Resurrection is the deepest truth of these days, just as it's also the deepest truth of a fall that turns to winter and then again to spring and the vibrancy of summer. The light that shines through the yellow eyes of an owl seems to us a fearsome predator, just as children often dress up as the Grim Reaper for Halloween. But that light is not meant to frighten, but to reassure us that even when death comes on swift and silent wing, those wings are ultimately used to lift us and carry us home to the light and to the love that is our source and our salvation. Amen.